My friends and I loved playing video games. We had tournaments all the time, and we always liked to try out the newest consoles. We were almost like a sort of clan. Every single Saturday, we played a video game and we'd have championships. It was so much fun. But before I go on, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. You do not want to miss out on any of these spooky stories. My mom didn't really like it though. She said I was spending too much time playing video games and was missing out on the important things in life. Usually, I just ignored her. She was my mom. Back then, I thought she was just trying to ruin all the fun. How I wished I had listened to her then. My friends and I played all sorts of games. Shooting games, GTA, Kingdom games, Battle Royale, you name it. We played it. We were quite notorious at our school for being the gaming geeks, but we didn't care. It was so much fun. Sometimes, especially on sleepover, my friends and I would play video games all through the night. Like, we literally wouldn't go to sleep. We were like gaming vampires. I see now that that was such a bad idea and was really bad for our sleeping schedules. But back then, I thought we were just daredevils. A lot of the time at school, I would find myself drifting off to sleep during class. Sometimes when I was in class, my fingers would start to grab a pencil case and pretend it was a gaming console with joysticks and buttons. My friends would always laugh at me when I did that. The thing is, I didn't even know I was doing it. I was so used to the movement that my fingers just did it on their own accord. Sometimes my fingers would be so sore, and sometimes I would even get blisters, especially on my thumbs. If you ever saw me at school, I would no doubt have plasters on all of my fingers from the broken blisters. I told you I was a gaming freak. It was junior year of high school, and my friends and I had saved up our pocket money to buy a new game together. I was on the internet one day and this ad popped up for this new VR game. It looked so cool. It was called Clashing Castles, and basically you had your own kingdom that you had to look after and try to protect it from other kingdoms. I called my friends and I told them all about it. They were immediately on board. We decided that we simply had to buy it. So we went online and ordered it. A few days later, it arrived at my door in this huge cardboard box. My friends and I loved playing it, and we kept the VR set at my house since I had the biggest room out of all of us. It was awesome. We could all play it at the same time since it had multiple VR sets. The game had a bunch of challenges, and we'd fight each other in battles and have diplomat discussions. It was so cool. Since it was virtual reality, we could see each other through the VR goggles as the characters the game had assigned to us. It was all medieval clothing and it was really fun. My character was this king called King Maximus. He had a long white beard and metal armor. I named my kingdom the Best Kingdom. Funny name, right? So far, my kingdom was the biggest, as I had seized territory from my other friends' kingdoms. We played it all the time. My friends basically came over to my house every day after school, and we'd play until the very last minute when they had to leave. But inevitably, as we spent more and more time playing it, I spent less and less time doing other things. Like spending time with my family, or doing homework, or going outside. Admittedly, my grades did go down, but the VR game was so fun, so I didn't really care. My mom did. She told me if I didn't decrease my usage and start focusing on my studies, she would take the VR game off of me. But why? I complained. Why do you have to spoil all the fun? This game is sucking all the energy out of you, she said. Just the other day, you forgot it was your sister's birthday. I frowned. Oh, yeah, I had forgotten my sister's birthday. But still, I didn't want to stop playing the VR game. It was too fun to stop. I asked my dad to tell her, and my dad said it was fine for me to keep using it. Let the boy enjoy his childhood, he said. My mom was furious, but she didn't want to start up an argument with my dad, so she finally relented, and I had the VR game to play to my heart's content again. My friends asked if they could come over on the weekends to play, so they came over on Saturday and we started playing in the morning. When we opened up Clashing Castles, we found out there was a new update available. I remember thinking that was odd. The game didn't usually do updates, and we'd already had it for over a year. But its description looked so exciting. It was called Ultimate Mode, and it said you could now kill the other characters. It gave you weapons to use and other cool devices, so we were really excited. We hooked ourselves up to the VR game and started playing. I was so good. I killed off kingdom after kingdom, defeating my friends' characters. We were all in the same room, so we could hear each other really clearly. But I remember thinking it was getting quiet. I hadn't heard some of my friends speak for a while now, especially the ones who had their characters defeated. It was pretty quiet considering there were 7 of us in the room, but I didn't focus on it too long as I was in the VR game. Now, I wish I had paid much more attention because what happened next scared the life out of me. Finally, my last friend was left to defeat and I managed to finish him off. I had won! I jumped up and down in excitement, laughing as the congratulations end card showed up in front of me. I took off my VR set, ready to celebrate, but then I gasped. All my friends were gone. The room was completely empty. It was as if they had vanished out of thin air. I spun around on the spot, confused. Where had they gone? It wasn't like them to just abandon me like that without saying anything. Maybe they had gone downstairs. I looked everywhere for them. They weren't in the kitchen, they weren't in the living room. They seemed to have disappeared. Finally, I asked my mom if she'd seen them, but she said she hadn't. I looked through the entire house. I checked the basement, no one. I checked the garage, no one. I checked the attic, but it was locked. I decided I had to text them, but they didn't even read the message. They had disappeared off the face of the earth. I thought it was some kind of prank, but it was so unlike them to do something like this. Finally, with no idea what to do next, I went back to the VR game, hoping for answers, and I was shocked to see a new message. Curious, I hooked up the VR set around my head, and the message read, "Congratulations, you have won, but at a price. Your friends are now stuck in the game. You have defeated their characters, and now their souls belong to Clashing Castles. Enjoy your victory." I couldn't believe my eyes. My friends were stuck in the game. I had killed them. I felt so guilty. This was all my fault. My friends were gone because of me. I ran to my mom begging her to help, and we looked around for them again, but it seemed like it was true. The VR game had taken my friends. I broke down crying. "This is all my fault," I cried. My mom consoled me, patting my back. There, don't worry, we'll find them." "No, we won't. Clashing Castles took them," I said. My mom looked at me as if I was acting crazy. I suppose I was. I never should have played the game. My mom sighed. "Don't you wish you could turn back time now?" I nodded vigorously. Yes, tears streamed down my face. If I could, I would never have spent so much time playing the game. It sucked my friends' lives into it, and my energy too. It was nothing but a distraction. "Do you want to play the VR game again?" she asked. "No, not ever. I never want to play that video game again." My mom smiled. Then she raised her head and called, "Okay, boys, you can come down now." Then, miraculously, my friends came bursting into the room. They were laughing at me, pointing fingers, but all I could do was gape at them with eyes wide open. I had no clue what was going on. "But," I said, "but the game took your soul." My mom chuckled. "No, it didn't. That was just me." I must have looked so confused, so she explained it all to me. My mom had hired my friends to teach me a lesson. First, she had installed a fake update into Clashing Castles, which now gave you the option to kill your friends. Then, every time I killed one of their characters, they would quietly leave the room and head upstairs to the attic. Once I'd killed the final person, I hadn't realized it yet, but the room had already been empty for a while. When I had asked my mom where my friends were, she had been forced to lie to me so that I would learn my lesson. Meanwhile, my friends had to hide away in our attic and wait for me to finally learn that the VR game shouldn't consume my life. They brought me upstairs and showed me where they had hidden for all that time. The attic was full of snacks and a TV and a mattress. "We were pretty scared when you knocked on the attic door," said one of my friends. "We thought you were going to find us." I remembered coming to the attic door and pushing against it, but it had been locked. I never would have thought my friends would be hiding on the other side. I turned angrily to my mom. "How could you do this to me?" Then I glared at my friends. "You too. You're supposed to have my back." "She was paying us," they said, as if that gave them the right to trick me like that. I looked at my mom with fury. "You needed to learn a lesson," she told me. I was angry at first, but I realized they were right. All that time I'd been playing video games, I hadn't realized just how tired I was. I'd forgotten the importance of staying in the real world. Sure, VR could be pretty cool, but it was the memories made in the real world that truly counted. To this day, I'm still grateful for my mom for teaching me that lesson. Who knows, maybe if she hadn't, I would still be playing that VR game as a grown man. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Now, I didn't stop playing video games altogether. I gave myself limits, like only 1 hour maximum per day, and on weekends only 3 hours maximum. That might sound like a lot to you, but before then, I could be playing for up to 10 hours a day. 10 hours! Isn't that crazy? I've learned that it's okay to have hobbies and interests, but it's also important that you do everything in moderation. Once I started doing that, I realized I actually enjoyed spending time with my family. We would go to the zoo, play at the beach. I actually enjoyed the football team too, and I'm still loving it now. Actually, I haven't played a video game for at least a few weeks. Wow.